Alright everyone, so today we're going to create a Runic Talisman of Strength. So the rune that I'm going to choose for this talisman is Uruz, the rune of primordial strength, of true strength, the strength before all beings came to be. So right now I'm going to dip my quill into dove's blood ink and write that rune. So the rune that is Uruz is in the form of a small n. It's kind of where we get our small n from. Not the big N, but the small n as far as letters go. And I'm writing it upon parchment. But you can write it upon white paper if you wish. Uruz. 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 Primordial strength. That tie to my ancestors, and that tie to the beginning of the world. I call upon you to make this talisman true and strong. We're gonna grind up some frankincense resin and some herb that is Saint John's wort or wort. Saint John's wort is for health, protection, strength, and happiness. It happens to be very important for many talismans. It happens to be very accessible to many people as well, so everybody can kind of use Saint John's wort. It might be called different things in other regions, but it's actually fairly accessible. If you just look up Saint John's wort, then you'll find, exactly what kind of herb that I'm dealing with here. Got some frankincense resin here. You don't need a whole lot, just a little bit. And St. John's wort. Got to kind of break it open. And also, I would like to say that Lisa's Creations is where I got like a huge amounts or a huge variety of herbs and salts and things like that can be used for various talismans or spells. You don't need a whole lot for a talisman. You don't need a whole lot of herb. You don't need a whole lot of salt. You don't need a whole lot of resin. It's just enough to solidify the practice, solidify the talisman, and make sure that all is mixed. And this is a mortar and pestle that I'm grinding it with. Now I only need a little bit of it. Probably clean up the scraps afterwards, but kind of make it into a powder. And then this is the vial that I will use. I will say that I like vials and corks as opposed to screw-on caps that are metal, just because it actually, so the cork is not as dense as metal. It kind of allows a little bit of the substance to soak into the cork and kind of diffuse into oneself or one's talisman. So, going to add some of this to the vial here, the cork vial. You don't need a whole lot. This is once again a talisman of strength using Uruz, the rune of primordial strength. As you see, we're kind of very much dropping a lot of the herb and the herbs that we have here. We're getting some of it in, and that's all that really matters. We got a good amount of it in right there. So Uruz is solidified. Uruz, primordial strength, Elder Futhark rune. Now we can kind of roll it up and put it inside the vial, or kind of fold it, either one. Uruz, Uruz, Uruz. Now we're going to go ahead and add some snowflake obsidian. Obsidian is very much for protection. It can be an equivalent to the idea of strength and the manifestation of strength. So I have actually used quite a bit of snowflake obsidian in a lot of my other talismans. That's why I'm so low on this one vial. Once again, you don't need a whole lot of that. Just enough to, maybe several pieces to about 10 or 12 pieces. And next, what we're going to do to make this talisman even more potent is add this Crown of Success oil. So Crown of Success oil is something that's used by very many magical practitioners and many pagans. And it really adds extra amplification to any spell, any talisman, any working. So I'm going to give 3 drops to this. One of the drops kind of like caught on there, so I'm going to add a 4th one here. Get the rest back in there. I'm going to go ahead and add a few more grains of frankincense resin. Always potent, and I've found in magical practices. Then next, we're actually going to attach something to the vial, which I will do in just one moment. So as I place this cork in, I'm actually going to tie, well, not really tie, but place strands of a string that I have tied to a shark tooth into the vial. So this shark tooth right here, it's a whole nother representation of strength, of ferocity. And I want to kind of associate it with the vial, but not really place it in the vial. Otherwise, I would kind of like scrape off pieces of it and put it in the vial. But I want it to kind of be the grabbing part of the vial, where like if I grab the talisman and put it in my pocket, I can grab this shark tooth, which adds its own significance to the idea of strength and grabbing strength and placing it into your pocket or placing it upon your neck, whatever you end up tying it to. So I place those strings. These are hemp strings, by the way, that I tied to this shark tooth. And I'm going to go ahead and press the cork against them as I place them in here. Make sure that they're in there pretty well before I put on the cork. And you really press on that cork. Make sure that it's solid. That is very well fastened. And then the last step is actually to charge this talisman by directing energy into it, which we will see in just a moment. To make this talisman effective, I place more Crown of Success oil upon this tea light candle that I will channel energy into. Uruz, 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 I call out to you. Uruz, 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 Uruz. Strength, primordial, I call out to you. Uruz.